Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I am not sure what is going on with Facebook, but I am not giving up. Um, I wanted to come on today to share on how much do you truly value yourself. Reason being that I got a lot of questions based on this when I shared a quote yesterday on how people treat you is a reflection of how you treat yourself. And most of the time, we don't really understand this when we aren't treating ourselves right. And the goal, hi, Munara, I see you. And the goal is to really help you gain that conscious awakening to what you're doing in your own space, how you're showing up for yourself, and how people are treating you. Because when you do not truly value yourself, you don't really see that people treat you based on how you present yourself. And key is that you come to know your own value. You come to know what you bring to the table. You come to know how you're showing up, because if you're showing up as not your true self, what will happen is people will really treat you the way you present yourself. The value you place on yourself determines how other people value you. Let me say that again. The value you place on yourself determines how other people value you. I'm going to have to type that out. The value you place on yourself determines how other people value you. Reason being that when you value yourself and you know yourself, the way other people, hi Linda, thanks so much for joining. I see you. I hope you're getting better. Keeping on praying and hoping that everything works well for you. And one of the things that you'll discover is if you don't really value yourself, other people cannot see that. And no matter how much you try to package and present it, they will not see it. What they see is the you that you're presenting. What you may think is the you that you have in your head that you really want people to see you as, but that is not yet manifesting because you haven't valued yourself to that extent that other people can see that you're placing that value on your own life, and they now treat you based on the value that you're presenting. One of the reasons why we don't really know our own value is based on the conditioning that we've acquired right from childhood, and also the coping mechanisms that we've developed from childhood that allows us to keep going and not really see the need to heal, to grieve, to love ourselves, to find our true self, to know who we're truly created to be. One of the things that we do from childhood is to allow people shape who we are. Not who we were created to be, but shape who we are in that age range. Shaping you by also looking at their own lives. What did they go through? What fears did they have? What fears are they really instilling on you? As they don't want you to repeat patterns, but they don't know how to deal with the issues that they haven't even healed from. And so it becomes generational patterns and habits that are being dumped on you, and then you become conditioned to living in that light. And as long as you are not gaining a conscious awareness of these things, we become conditioned, and this conditioning takes us to also developing coping mechanisms when things that we're not comfortable with show up at that age. Take, for example, you know something isn't right, but you're being told is right. All you would have to do is cope with it and people please at a young age because you don't know better. There's no other place to go. So you have to live with them. And in that, you don't even know your value yet. So all you're doing is getting conditioned into a particular form of who you're not. And as you go on, those coping mechanisms show up in your relationship, either work relationship, either friendship, either romantic relationship. And that continues to make you go on, including all the Disney stories that create the illusion and fantasies about the rescuer and the fixer, which we sometimes play either role. And we continue to go on with these coping mechanisms that shape us into who we're not. And we always think our values are based on those things that we've been conditioned with, and the persona that we're creating based on the fantasies and the illusions that we create, and those also set expectations that we take into the relationship. And when those expectations are not met, we think that people don't really value us. The truth is, the value that we presented is the value that we got back. And if you don't really know your value, you need to come to a point of sitting down and saying, do I want to keep having these coping mechanisms that allow me to self-sabotage? Or do I really want to, because there are healthy coping mechanisms and there are unhealthy coping mechanisms. I'm talking about the unhealthy ones. And you have to come to a point where you just have to be real with yourself. One of those coping mechanisms is lying to yourself. And so when you find out people are lying to you as well, you get upset. When you find out partners are cheating because you're cheating on yourself and they're bringing that to your awareness, you get angry with them. But the real person you're angry with is yourself, not them. You're angry with the fact that you had the expectations, and you're angry with the fact that you thought that they will meet the expectations, but the expectations are not met because the value you presented was the value they gave back to you. We are who we attract and what we accept. And as long as you don't know your value yet, then you need to start working on you to get there. Part of knowing your value is also having healthy boundaries. Let me say that again. Part of knowing yourself and knowing your value is having healthy boundaries. Because you will be able to recognize anything that you will not accept or tolerate. And at that point, you're saying, you know what? I don't need to take this crap from you because that's not who I am. And as long as you set that boundaries and cut off that friendship or romantic relationship at that point, you're saving yourself the heartbreak. You're saving yourself the headache. You're saving yourself the drama. You're saving yourself the pain or the trauma that you may acquire from it. And that person will really see that you truly value yourself, and they will not overstep your boundaries. But without really knowing your value, other people cannot treat you better. And part of having those values is also learning to respect yourself. Because the respect you have for yourself is the respect that other people will give to you. Let me say that again. The respect you have for yourself will determine the respect that other people will give to you. When people try to disrespect you, when you respect yourself, you put your foot up and say, hey, I got boundaries. I'm not taking disrespect. But when you don't, you find yourself going around repeating patterns, and it's actually habits that become patterns that we're unconscious of. And as long as you're not gaining a conscious awareness of this, you will be a reflection of the people you're attracting, and the value you're presenting is the value you're getting back. So what are some things that you can do to change this narrative and this story about getting devalued constantly, either in friendship, either in romantic relationship, either in work relationships, either in family dynamics? Number one, discover your true self. Number one, discover your true self. That is part of the hardest thing you have to do for yourself. When I had to do it, I was a people pleaser before I had to do it. I was a fixer before I had to do it. And I had to come to the point where I said, you know what? If I'm trying to rescue everybody, it means I'm abandoning myself. And when you try to abandon yourself, you will put your life in danger of everything that people are going to dump in you. You become the dumpster. And it comes to a point where you have to say to yourself, I've about had it. Who am I really? What do I need to do to discover myself? What conscious awareness are these people bringing to me about the me that I'm yet to discover? Why is it that I'm attracting drama? Why is it that I'm attracting trauma? Why is it that I'm attracting pain? And as long as you take that step to say, you know what? From this point, I want to commit to myself to find myself. That part of the journey of finding yourself is also finding your value. Number two is during the discovery process, you heal. Number one, I said, is discover yourself. Number one is discover yourself. Number two is heal yourself, because nobody can heal you. Heal yourself. As long as you're gaining the conscious awakening, you have the power to heal yourself. Nobody can heal you. You were already created complete. You were already made whole when you were born. What happened was you got into the world and you got lost in the process. You got conditioned by the background you were raised in. You got conditioned by the friends you made initially. You got conditioned by the romantic relationship. You got conditioned by watching the TV and the Disney stories. You got conditioned by reading all the romantic novels. But you have to heal yourself. Because if you don't heal yourself, nobody else can heal you. God already will heal you, because every morning he wakes you up, you and I up. It's another beginning of the healing process. But until we accept that we need to heal, nothing changes. Part of the healing process is number 3. Accept what is. Accept what is, what was, and what you can't control. Accept what is, what was, and what you cannot control. Part of that acceptance is saying, I admit. Where I was wrong, I accept. Where people wronged me, I accept. Where I couldn't control things that I try to control, I accept. Because all that is in the past. So I have to accept the past as part of my story. Does it mean the past doesn't exist? No, it was part of your story to begin to shape you into you discovering yourself. And as you accept what is, number 4, commit to yourself. Commit to yourself before anybody else. Commit to yourself before anybody else. Because if you're not committing to you, who else will commit to you? Commit to yourself. Part of the commitment journey to yourself is to stop lying to yourself about things. To stop denying yourself about things. To accept the truth about things. To accept the things you cannot change. And to accept the fact that you only have this moment now to begin to commit. The next 5 nanoseconds is not guaranteed, because you don't even know if you will be breathing or leaving. So you can't even procrastinate. You just have to accept now, in this moment, to commit to yourself. And as you commit to yourself, get support if you need to get support. Get support if you need to get support. Don't think that you will guilt trip yourself and tell yourself, oh, I can do it all by myself. Nobody can. I tried to do it all by myself, but I was breaking down further. I was losing myself further until I got help. And there's nothing to be ashamed of when you get help. It is about freeing yourself, which is part of committing to yourself. It is about healing yourself, which is part of committing to yourself. It is about choosing you and loving you, which is part of healing yourself and discovering yourself. And as you begin to get the support that you need to commit to yourself, to heal and accept what is, and to really own the journey, which is number 6. Own your journey. Why are you owning your journey? Nobody can lead your journey but you. You may meet people that have similar journeys, but your journey is unique to you. Your journey, your story, they're both unique to you. Your journey is unique to you. And you have to understand that the fact that your journey is unique to you means nobody else can own it but you. So you have to own the journey. And part of owning that journey is owning your truth. Part of owning that journey is owning your truth. Because the truth will set you free. As you own it, the truth will set you free. And nobody knows that truth but you. Because no matter how much you try to run away from it, it keeps showing up. Every time you get into a place where you're hurt, the truth shows up. You don't love you yet. You don't know you yet. You're running away from yourself. You're self-sabotaging. You're self-hurting. But you need to take a pause and stop. And as you own the truth, remember this. Be very patient with yourself through the process. Be patient with yourself through the process. Because the process is not meant to confine you, but to refine you. The process isn't meant to confine you, but to refine you. And you have to understand that the refinement process is going to take you to the next step and phase of your journey. No one can walk that phase but you. No one can own the truth to that phase from you. No one can trust that process but you. And as you begin to allow the process to work in your favor, be humble. Be humble through the process. Be so humble through the process, because that humility is what gets you to where you need to be. If your ego shows up, it's because you're fearful of the unknown. And the unknown is where the greatness lies. The greatness in you. The true self lies in the unknown. Oh, you may think, oh, if I do this, then people may shame me. Forget about people. People can't live your life for you. People can't walk your journey for you. People did not create you with the purpose to live and breathe. Even when you die, people would always have things to say. So why focus on people than yourself? Be humble through the process and commit to yourself. Commit to the healing journey. Commit to discovering your true self. Commit to owning the truth. And don't lie to yourself along the way. Because when you lie to yourself and you let your ego or fear show up, guess what? You will revert back to your old ways. And old ways do not really lead to new ways. Give me 1 second. I need to pull my doorbell out. Old ways do not result in new ways. Old ways lead to repeated patterns and cycles, not new ways. You have to quit the whole old way if you really want to step into the new way. Otherwise, you're getting onto a bus with no destination. You're just going around in circles doing 360. And guess what? The more you do that to yourself, the more you get hurt. The more you acquire pain. The more nothing changes, because you're not committed to you yet. And you're running from yourself. No one can do the work if you're not doing the work. You can get people to support you, but if you're not getting hands-on to do the work, guess what? Nothing changes. And nothing grows when you're stuck. Only stillness. And as long as you are humble through the process will refine you to become better. Part of that process is also know those you need along the journey. Because not everyone is meant to come with you. Know those you need along the journey that can really encourage you than distract you. Those that can support your goals to become better. And part of that journey of knowing who you need is to discard those you don't need. And I'm saying that because I've had to do it. People will fall off when you're committed to yourself. People will fall off when they see you're working towards your growth and they're not ready to grow. And those are the people that will try and shame or guilt trip you. But you have to stay focused. Number 11, stay focused and avoid distractions. Because if you're not avoiding distractions, guess what? They will derail you. You're going from a shrub to become a tree. And you know that it's all about evolving. And you know that you're just going to keep going to become the best version of yourself while you're still living and breathing. So you have to shed the excess weight. As you stay focused, you avoid distractions, the excess weight, just let them go. Let them go. And remain focused on your journey as you continue to commit to yourself. The last thing is celebrate the little milestones. Celebrate the little milestones with gratitude, because gratitude changes everything. Celebrate the little milestones with gratitude, because life is a process. It's a set of processes. And part of that process is to go from one phase to another phase to another phase. And the phases may not be easy, but as long as you're committed to yourself and you're staying focused and you're avoiding distractions and you're humble through the process and you know those you need in your journey that can support you, celebrate the little wins and be grateful for the opportunity to still work on yourself. Not everybody is alive to be able to walk this process today. Not everybody has the opportunities to become the best version of yourself and heal. There are people who died in the last 5 minutes. But as long as you're listening to this and you're ready to work on you and commit to you, follow these 12 steps. And as you begin to recognize your value, as you begin to discover your true self, as you begin to heal and own the truth that will set you free, your life becomes peaceful. The chaos is just not there anymore. You're not trying to develop these unhealthy coping mechanisms, but you're thinking before you act and reasoning before you react or respond. You're saying, is this meaningful? You're saying, is this where I need to be? As long as you're examining and introspecting and really looking at your journey and saying, I will stay committed to myself because I now value myself, establish the boundaries. The boundaries that will take you back. Establish those healthy boundaries that will take you back. Because this is a commitment to yourself to say, I'm going all the way through. I am not going to fall back. I am not going to be moved by what I see or by others. I am tired of being conditioned. I am ready to take this journey to value me before anybody else. Because when you value you, everybody that will come into your life will recognize the value and will not devalue you. We are what we accept, and we are what we allow. And as long as we're allowing things that are taking us aback, we have to own the truth that we were part of whatever happened to us. You're very welcome, Timothy, you're very welcome. And you have to really look at it. What do you really believe about yourself? Who do you believe you were created as? Every day, the value that you are is what God looks at when he wakes you up and says, here, go live another day. Go find yourself. Go love yourself. Go know your true self. Go begin to live the greatest life that was handed on to you. But what makes us lose sight is the pain and the trauma that we've carried for so long that's allowed us to develop coping mechanisms that let people treat us the way we present ourselves. And if you find that you're not being valued, it's because what you're presenting is what you're getting back. And you have to understand that people who also don't value themselves will never value you. Let me say that again. People who don't value themselves will never value you. It's very easy for them to devalue you. People who are in a place of pain and trauma will be willing to make you stay in a place of pain and trauma with them. Trauma bonding. All you do is trauma dump and marinate the pain and allow yourself to develop coping mechanisms that lead to manipulation and control and assumptions and expectations and disappointments that are actually life's teacher. Disappointments are life's teacher. Teaching you need to come back to yourself. You need to find yourself. You need to own your voice. You need to own your truth. You need to set yourself free and heal from whatever is breaking you down. You have the power. Stop allowing people to take your power away. Take your power back. Take your life back while you still have life and breath, because the next nanosecond is not guaranteed. This moment is all you have. If you procrastinate again, it's because you're ready to self-sabotage again. But at one point, will you say to yourself, I'm tired of repeating habits that have become patterns, that have become a lifestyle? Because no one can be as tired of anything except you're tired of it. And as you allow yourself to break free from what's breaking you down, guess what? You're ready to soar and discover who you were truly created to be. No one gave you that life but the one who wakes you up to say, you know what? It's time to begin to value yourself. It's time to begin to recognize your true self. It's time to walk in your own power and in your own might and in the grace that has been granted to you to do so. Irrespective of what people have to say, think, or do. Because people would always be people, but you would always be you. Remember that. People would always be people, but you would always be you. And it takes you recognizing your value to get to stop the devaluation that's happening. It takes you setting the boundaries when you know yourself, when you set your core values, when you set the goals that allow you to attract the people that are on the same level with your goals, that can push you forward and help you as your purpose helpers and pushers to really get to live your best life. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. The next minute is not guaranteed. There are people who would die in the next minute. It is not that I'm wishing it on anybody, but it's the fact of life. And you really have to think about it. If you don't value you, who else will value you? If you don't commit to you, who else will commit to you? If you don't heal you, who else can heal you? You can pray every single day that God heal me, but if you're not doing anything about it, that manifestation will never come to fruition. Let me say that again, because some people need to hear that. When you pray for God to heal you, but you're not doing the part of the healing process on your own, guess what? That prayer will never be manifested. You will just sit down and say, oh, God is not hearing me. Of course he's hearing you, giving you life and breath again to heal yourself. But I used to pray that prayer before until I realized, listen, if I don't heal myself, nobody will heal me. And that's why I've written my 4 books to help other people. Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality, Being Single, Beyond the Pain, and On Becoming Restored. They all have workbooks that you can begin to work with if you don't want to coach yet. You begin to go in and write things as you're learning your lessons and you're gaining awareness and you're healing yourself. Because nobody can heal you. And part of the healing yourself is to commit to the journey and to value yourself, to say, I know my worth. Not to put the value on the external, because you know what? If the inside isn't great, the external will be worthless. Let me say that again. If your internal isn't great, your mindset, your soul, your spirit are not being fed with the greatness that you are and are not being healed to connect with the greatest that you are, guess what? Everything on the outside is a fad. You can put the concealer, you can put the makeup. I used to do it prior. It didn't get me anywhere. It will get people to like you, and it's like, hey, hey. But you know what? You go home at night, and there's still that worry bothering, and that worry and anxiety and panic and insomnia and crying and sadness and depression still there. Why? Because you haven't committed to healing yourself. No one can heal you until you commit to healing you. You were already healed when you were created. All you need to do is tap into you to, Timothy said, some trauma bonds appear impossible to break. That's if you tell yourself that story that there's impossibilities that you want to hold on to. Every trauma bond that is formed, you can break it, including trauma bonds with your family members. You can break it. It is up to you to commit to breaking those trauma bonds and saying, I will dig to the deepest root and uproot everything unhealthy in my own life, because the more I peel back the layers of my onions, the more I'm going to reveal my true self. Because within the onion of who I am is that tiny piece of me that was broken as a child. And until I get to that place to heal that middle layer of my onion, everything that I'm putting on it is flaking off. Like the onion. If you look at the onion when you buy it from the market, it flakes off. If the inside isn't right, the external is a fad. So you have to work from within. If I can do it, you can do it. Don't tell yourself that there are things that are impossible. Every single thing is possible. It is because we place limits on ourselves. We allow fear to come in. We allow ego to be awakened. We allow ourselves to listen to hearsays and naysayers. That's why we don't see the impossibilities as possible. Every single thing is possible. You are possible. Impossible means I am possible. And until you begin to manifest that by doing the work in your life, guess what? You will hold on to impossibilities and see them as opportunities. Opportunities to give excuses. And excuses don't yield results. But every single day, you can connect to possibilities and turn your story. Turn all those stumbling blocks into stepping stones, because that's what they really are. That's how you develop your inner strength. That's how you become strong. That's how you become wise. That's how you become better. That's how you become greater, because you don't give up on yourself. If you're giving up, you're saying, I don't really value myself. If you're giving up, you're saying, I'm not worth the life that I'm giving. If you're giving up, you're saying, I quit on myself. I don't believe I deserve anything. And as long as you're staying and developing those coping mechanisms that make you stay on the negative, you will never connect to the positive and have a balance in your life. Everything is possible. Every single thing. So today I want you to take a bold step. If you think that you need support, or if you believe thinking is imaginary, if you believe that you need support, if you believe that you're ready to commit to yourself, DM me or email me, coaching@kemisogunle.com. I really want you to take a step. I'll set up a 30 minutes complimentary session with you and help you begin this journey. You can heal yourself. If you're not ready to make a connection, get the books. In every book I've written, except for Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality, they all have workbooks in them. You can begin to start with the books and begin to write down as you're uncovering in every nugget what it is that you need to work on in your own life. You have the power to change your story. You have the power to set a value on yourself, or to see the value that you were created with. And stop allowing yourself to sit in this limited box that doesn't exist, that you created out of whatever it is that you've acquired for so long, buried emotional pain and trauma. You deserve better. That's why you're still living and breathing. You deserve better. You are of so much more value. That is why you're still living and breathing. But if you don't take that bold step and jump, which is faith. Faith is the substance of things we haven't seen yet, things we hope for, evidence of things that we haven't seen. If you're not jumping, you will never know what lies ahead, that line for you. You have to jump to see what's ahead. If I did not jump, almost 13 years now, I would have been dead. Let me say that again. If I did not jump, I would not have become the coach speaking to you. I would not have become the global speaker that I am. I would not have written the 4 books. I will not be mentoring. I will not be here. I would have been dead almost 13 years ago. But I chose to find myself. I chose to discover myself. I chose to stop lying to myself. I chose to commit to myself. I chose to become humble so that I can continue to push forward. I chose to surround myself with people that could help me heal, and I got support. I chose me first, because the love that I have for myself and the value that I have for myself is what other people will see, and that's the way they'll love you, and that's the way they value you. And if you discover that there are people that you're attracting that are not there yet, when you are already doing the work, you set the healthy boundary and say, you know what? I don't need to go 10 steps back. I've already come this far, and I am not giving up on myself. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Let me say that again. You can do it. I'm going to keep repeating that. You can do it. I want you to hear that. You can do it. You can do it. Every trauma bond is breakable. Everything is possible. Except you choose to let things hold you back from moving forward. You have the power to change your story and to change your life for the better. And that starts now. Now, if you turn back and you say no to yourself, you're saying, I'm choosing to self-sabotage. I'm choosing to abandon myself. But what do you truly deserve? What is your true value? And what are you going to do to change your situation for the better, not the better? Only you have the choice to change your life, to change your story for the better, not the better. That's all I have today, guys. If there are questions, I will take your questions because my goal is to continue to support you to really get to be your own light, not to dim your own light, to really get to value yourself, to really get to discover who you are, to really understand your purpose and the purpose of everyone you're connecting with, to make sure that everyone you're connecting with is making an impact in your life and you're making an impact in their lives for the better. And as you grow and evolve, you become restored into who you were truly created to be, and your life becomes peaceful. Never stop loving while living. When you stop loving, you stop living. When you stop living, it means it's time to go back to the maker. But while you're still breathing and living, I challenge you this week to know your value by doing these 13 steps that I've set there for you, and allow yourself to evolve while you're still breathing and living. You'll have a great week ahead, and I'll talk to you over the weekend. Take good care. God bless. Bye-bye.